Hi everyone, and welcome to Staria's webinar for today. So we at Staria are very happy and proud to have this webinar hosted by Staria and accompanied with iBinder and with Andrei that will help us as well. This spring we will have a series of webinars where we will invite customers and different topics for the different webinars, and we will send out a link to the follow-up webinars as well. Today we will talk about how to unify your business management applications with NetSuite, and that will be iBinder presenting. So I will hand it over to iBinder in a few moments. But first, just some words about Staria that is hosting this event, and thank you very much for joining, and I hope that you will get some good and valuable information going forward. So a few short words about Staria. So we are a company working with growth companies, international growth companies, helping them in their growth. And we ourselves is as well a growth company. So we have grown over the past years quite a lot, and we keep on growing in a rapid speed as well. Today we have 16 offices across Northern Europe, covering customers using NetSuite and global accounting in 45 countries. We work a lot with our key values: commitment, collaboration, and courage. Now, for us, this basically means getting our customers to satisfactory and successful projects, but also to make sure that our own employees, that we are a great place to work, basically. So this is something that we work very, very hard with. We are, regarding NetSuite, one of the leading partners in Europe. We have been investing a lot in NetSuite the last 10 years, and we have been awarded with several awards by NetSuite as the leading solution provider partner in Europe. If you want to hear more about Staria, you can always reach out, but today I thought we will keep the focus on our guests. So with that, I will leave it over to iBinder to tell their story and how they have managed growth and the challenges within that. So a very warm welcome and thank you a lot for joining this webinar. And with that, I will leave it over to you. So we will have a Q&A session at the end, so please send in any questions that you may have, and we will pick them up in the end. And we will send out this webinar, the recording, and the presentation after the event to all of you that are here and for the few of you that for some reason accidentally missed the event. So thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. And thank you very much, Staria, for allowing us to share our story. My name is Monzaide Anzola. I am the CFO of iBinder, and together with me I have Tillqvist, that is the Group Finance Manager. Let me show you first a little bit of what we do. What is iBinder? We are a software company, a Nordic-based software company, and we develop solutions for the construction industry, mainly for real estate owners. And what we do is that we have a platform of different solutions in order to help the construction industry to be compliant, improve productivity, and not the least, increase the sustainability across the whole production and property management cycle. We are the key player in the Nordic. We have built a Nordic fortress, we like to say. We have a presence in the most developed market in the world regarding our solutions. So we are very proud to be leading in the most competitive and most developed market. We have an offering that covers the whole production cycle, and we have grown quite rapidly, and at the moment we are 130 very engaged employees, recognized as a great place to work. You can see some of our numbers. Some of the ones that we are most proud of, it's the number of users and number of customers that we have that are growing constantly every time. But how have we come here? iBinder was actually founded in 2005 in Örebro, Sweden, and it had a good expansion at the beginning locally. It tried to expand to Denmark and Norway at the beginning of the 2010, somewhere there. But in 2019, we were acquired by Fidelio Capital, that it's a private equity company supporting growing companies. And that has accelerated our growth, where we made several decisions into expand more rapidly in the Nordics and even outside the Nordics, and even build a platform that we're going to share with you on how can we grow in a scalable and flexible way. Because as you see, since after 2019, we have made several acquisitions. This is just an example of the ones that we have made. So we wanted to build a business that it's able to grow in an easy and flexible way. This is a slide that we are very proud of. We have had an accelerating growth year by year. It's every year is accelerating even more. And one of the keys to this growth has actually been developed to be able to develop a platform where we can support these acquisitions and the organic growth at the same time. At the beginning, we were struggling with some of the parts, but we made a huge, we call it best of breed back office infrastructure that has allowed us to support the whole company in this growth. The situation, I want to picture for you the situation that we had just for 1 year ago, actually. We had legal entities in all the Nordic countries and UK and Holland. In Sweden, just as an example, we had 4 different legal entities. So in each of these countries, we were either having one local system or Excel, having different accounting partners, and that's quite time consuming to manage and to get all of them aligned. And then one of the most complex parts for us was to drive the consolidation of all the numbers in a fast, flexible, and quality-wise correct way. We did it in Excel, and we used a lot of external consultants to be able to pull to make this up. So as you can see, it was not really good for us to drive new growth, because we always have the target to do more acquisitions and to scale up our business. So actually, it was a year ago that we decided we need to move to a modern platform by the end of the year. So this was our journey in 2022. And we had actually 4 goals when we decided, when we were doing the evaluation. Number 1, we needed a scalable system. We wanted to be able to grow both organic and to get new companies very fast and flexible in a system. The second one, we wanted to have a system that brings efficiency. We didn't want several systems or several partners, because we had learned how time consuming it is. I am a strong believer that there's always someone out there that has developed something, at least 99% of what we need. So I'm a strong believer to use best practice, and for us to adapt to best practice and not for a system to adapt to us. The third goal was the consolidation. We wanted to have in one system all legal entities. And when you're working in an environment like we do, that we do many acquisitions, you want to evaluate the financial statements in different ways. You want to build pro forma examples. We're moving right now to IFRS and so on. So we wanted to have a consolidation that was flexible in order to feed all our ambitions. And the last one, not the least important, actually very, very important. For us, it was very important to have a trustful system and partner to do this. The credentials are very important to get the right support. And it was all these four areas that in our evaluation were the ones that made us choose the combination of NetSuite and Staria. Now, I know the big picture, but I will leave it to the person that actually knows the details and they start building this implementation. So I will leave it to you, August.
Thank you. Yes. So I am August and I'm finance manager. So I'm the one working with NetSuite on a daily basis at iBinder. And I'll take you through our NetSuite journey so far. So first of all, I would like to highlight some of the key factors for a successful implementation. Now that we have worked with NetSuite for almost 6 months, we have identified this 4 factors. And the first one is really to take your time needed with the deadlines in the project. So have a clear project plan and allocate resources, and it's good to have a project manager that follows up on the individual goals. And I will take you through in the few next slides how our plan actually looked like. And the next thing is to have a great implementation team with competence in the system. And here we use Staria, and I was really impressed by their knowledge in both the system and accounting. And the next factor I think is a quite important one, is that you should be open to a change, maybe adapt some processes to NetSuite instead of vice versa. So yeah, be open for a change and maybe ask questions, how do other users do these processes in NetSuite? And the last thing is to standardize your output from your historical systems and try to create the same templates for the historical data, and import will be much easier. So yeah, and this was our plan in the beginning on how we would get started. So the project started almost a year ago in April, and I like to add that I started my employment at iBinder during the summer. So the first 2 points I did not attend to, but yeah. So, and then after the summer, we started to send all those data to Staria, who helped us to import them to NetSuite. And actually, we divided it to send most of the data until I think it was half of the year. And then after the go live date, we imported the rest of the data. And when we were live, we were actually using Staria Global Accounting to help us to get started in the NetSuite. And we only did some few accounting processes in-house. So that was sort of our goal and main plan. And then in here in the next slide, I will show you the final result. So the first points are actually the same, but then as you can see, we had 2 additional acquisitions that we implemented after the go live date. One in 1st of January and one very recently here in March. And also we decided to move a lot of processes in-house instead of using Staria, because we felt that the system were that effective that we could do most of it ourselves. Yeah, and this is probably the reasons why we could move the accounting in-house. That's what the first point here is, that NetSuite handles our whole group as one company, you could say. So you only have to have one login and you can see everything at the same place instead of having multiple logins, or maybe to use or have a user change inside the system. Another point is that we think the system was much easier to learn than expected. The helps module in NetSuite is really good to use, and you can always use the search function to search for what you would like to do. And then also the AP process was very good because the system adapts and learns how to process all the AP invoices. And the next point is that we build a flexible report using Staria's help. So the output from the system actually don't need any adjustment before we report to the board or internally. And then we had, as I said, 2 new companies acquired, which we implemented in NetSuite, and that went very smooth since the first big implementation was already done, and you could like apply this standard settings to the new companies. And yeah, that was very good. So overall, we are very happy with taking the step to change from our previous systems to NetSuite, as our daily accounting and work is much easier than before. Yeah. Would you like to add something?
No, I think it was very good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it.
I'll join in. Thank you very much. So we will have a Q&A session coming up. We have some questions for you, but until then, we will first hand over to Andrei, that will give presentation of NetSuite, and I will hand it over to him to present himself and what he will be showing, and then we will be back after Andrei. So go ahead, Andrei, take it away.
Hello, good time of the day, everyone. Thanks for joining this session. My name is Andrei, and I'm a solution consultant here at Staria. And my passion is about articulating on the solutions that will work for our customers, help them understand how that's going to happen. And today we are going to scratch the surface since we have not that much time. We are going to scratch the surface and see how NetSuite helps consolidate multiple systems into one, gain visibility into real-time numbers for both small, medium-sized, and big companies set for growth. Now, I'm sharing my screen. Jimmy, do you see my screen? Okay, so now this is NetSuite recently announced that there are over 34,000 customers worldwide using NetSuite, and those customers are either already unicorns meaning that soon to be unicorns, or companies that have solid plans for growth. There is a reason why NetSuite is a system of choice for those kind of companies. And today we are going to see, of course, in a nutshell, why. So first things first, NetSuite is the first cloud ERP system born out there in the world. It was launched in 1998. Back in those times, the word cloud was not even used in IT context. NetSuite is a role-based system. So here I have like a demo instance, so that's why I can shift to different roles. Nevertheless, roles allow us to flexibly tailor the system to the organizational structure of each particular business. Now, once the users log into the system, what they see is a so-called home dashboard that contains quite a lot of different types of widgets or portlets that the users can tailor and customize to their likings. They can opt for customizing the layout of the system depending on the screen size that they are most comfortably using on a daily basis. And then each portlet carries out a certain type of business information in a certain format, whether it's a textual or a graphical representation of the information. Nevertheless, there are tens of types of different portlets that one can pick up from and just choose to add to their dashboard. A few of the most important ones are reminders that just highlight the key things to keep an eye on, like any exceptions, any transactions pending approval, any other things that my specific role would be interested at this point in time to handle. And then NetSuite is packed with KPIs covering all the processes, of course, depending on the industry of a particular business and the way NetSuite has been implemented for. We are going to have upcoming webinars dedicating to more focused industries, be that software or product-based industries, where we will discuss supply chain aspects of NetSuite. Nevertheless, NetSuite is packed with KPIs that bring in actionable insight to your fingertips. Those KPIs can be visualized in a graphical representation right on the dashboard, where you can observe the trend of a particular key performance indicator. They can be summarized in screens like you are seeing in front, right, where you can bring in elements of all sorts of business aspects and see how they performed in time. Also, you can bundle different KPIs by their nature, group them in so-called scorecards. As you can see here, I'm a CFO of a group of companies, so my scorecard is mainly a financial-driven one, and the collection of the KPIs are of a financial nature, so that I can observe their evolution and see like their snapshots across multiple periods. All the data that users are interacting with in NetSuite is real-time. It is coming from a real-time ledger to which the system is posting the financial impact of any transaction, be that a sales invoice posting, a purchase order received, a journal entry approval, or any other posting transaction. Now, as you may see here on the screen, I have a subsidiary navigator that is visually depicting the structure of the group of companies that has been configured in this particular account. And you can see that we have subsidiaries all over the world, accounting in different currencies, and of course, doing business in different countries. Now, what NetSuite allows a user to do is to actually visualize in real time both the group data or filter the context of a particular legal entity or a certain region. And as you can see, with the click of a button, my role has now access to particularly Japan subsidiary data. Also, please note the currencies being shown is the posting currency of this particular subsidiary, so I can visualize what are the reminders or like the exceptions or any new vendors or something that I need to approve. I can see all the business values of that particular legal entity in its functional currency. I can switch to a different company with, again, a click of a button and see its performance, as well as I can visualize regional numbers if in case we are setting up a regional consolidation in NetSuite, or go back to the group level. So because of the real-time ledger to which the transactions are posted, we are able to actually interact with the data that we see here. Not only just click and choose a certain subsidiary, we can actually click through the data on the entire dashboard. And depending on the kind of data we are aiming, NetSuite will take us to the respective source. So for instance, if I would click on the current revenue KPI here, NetSuite will take me to the underlying report that actually contributed to that revenue calculation. And in this case, we are looking at a P&L statement. I can visualize financial statements in NetSuite in no time. both consolidated views. As you can see here, I can see the regional consolidated statements, as well as I can see a specific company profit and loss. In this case, we are observing Japan. NetSuite uses that multi-dimensional real-time ledger that allows us to actually segment the data and analyze it and slice and dice business and financial information across multiple dimensions. And there are quite a few of standard available out of the box, which is of course our subsidiary, right? So now I can, let's say, produce my entire last fiscal year consolidated statement by subsidiary. So with the click of a button, the CFO gets access to consolidated statement for the entire group of companies, where they can not just see the totals, but they can actually see, for instance, the contribution of a specific particular company in consolidated to the revenue, for example, in consolidated currency. Also, segments allow us to look at the data from a different perspective. For instance, leveraging the standard dimensions like location, department, and class. Those can obviously be renamed in the system. We can add an unlimited amount of additional dimensions in case your reporting needs require that. I would take as an example for today a class. Basically, classes allow us to define different lines of business. We can segment revenue streams. We can classify customer categories. We can even use projects as dimensions to get information about project profitability. And as you can see here, in my particular account, the business is about providing a wide range of different services, whether we are selling hardware and software or providing some custom development and training. All of those can be visualized separately and their profitability can be assessed. Now, with the click of a button, we can actually drill into this data and see the underlying transactions that have contributed to it. So, for instance, if I go into, let's say, some building maintenance costs, I can click with the button and get down to the specific journals, invoices, bills, and with another click, I will get to the actual atomic level, which is the transaction itself. So the beauty of NetSuite interactability with the data is about me as an executive of a group of company doing 4 clicks and getting from a consolidated revenue KPI from my home dashboard down to a particular journal or an invoice or any other transaction in no time using one single tab of my browser. NetSuite has to offer a lot when it comes to not only financial reporting, but also accounting and automation. We would be glad to describe it in way more details, in particular calls, particular sessions with you. So reach out to us whenever you want more information. NetSuite covers obviously the entire accounts payable, procurement and accounts payable process, offering accounts payable function full visibility into the data. Again, a sample of a dashboard that you can visualize right now with all specific exceptions. And of course, all the standard reports are there. So with the click of a button, I can see, for instance, my AP aging summary, see what is happening. You know, let's say we have an outstanding payable of 80K with this particular vendor. We can drill into the report, see the actual transactions, and process them in no time. The same applies to accounts receivable function, which is also fully covered in NetSuite, including order management and revenue recognition, but those would be in more detail described in the upcoming sessions. And now the accounts receivable also can visualize all their needed data in real time, of course, and they can interact both from customer perspective or reach there from a specific report. Dashboards are not only at the home screen, they are available also on the customer and on the vendor side. So if, for instance, I open a customer record, I can obviously manage the customer entirely from here, whether it's a global customer where I do business with them in from multiple subsidiaries, or it's a single subsidiary customer. I can also access a customer dashboard. The same applies, by the way, to the vendors, where I can see customer specific data, again in real time with all the needed KPIs that we can tailor for a specific customer, links to common reports, so we can get actionable insight on a particular partner, customer, or supplier in almost no time. Also, NetSuite supports growth companies with the ability to do the month-end closure. There will be more information on the upcoming sessions. Nevertheless, month-end process is a pretty month-end closure process is a pretty straightforward one. All you need to do is follow a checklist with a set of steps that will guide you through the proper accounting period closure routines. First of all, obviously, we need to lock all the accounts, and then the remaining steps will be available to us. Basically, we can have a centralized or a decentralized period close process. We can either focus on the entire subsidiary or an entire group all at once, or we can do that on a company by company basis. The NetSuite, of course, will take care of all the accounting and consolidation routines. For instance, revaluation of open foreign currency balances, because NetSuite does support customers with multi-currency invoicing and accounting capability. So the revaluation process is also automated and obviously part of the month-end routines. NetSuite will also automate the elimination of any intercompany transactions for seamless consolidation, thus creating mirroring journal entries and posting them to elimination subsidiaries. And yes, of course, all the changes that users do to the system are being recorded in the audit trail and available for you to report on and share with your auditors. When it comes to ERP systems, it is also very important to be able to get the data and understand where you are, what you're doing, where you are heading, and also look into the past. So when it comes to reports, besides KPIs and all kind of real-timeness that we have already observed, NetSuite comes with a ton of pre-built reports, all the major statements, revaluation reports, intercompany reconciliation reports available. And of course, depending on the licensing stack and on the kind of implementation scope that the customer would have, they would get access to additional sets of reports as they need them, whether it comes to AP and AR analysis, inventory, and other elements. Now, it's really easy to customize a report, interact with that. I'm happy to share that with more detail in dedicated sessions. Also, CFOs get access to a Cash 360 dashboard where they can see the projections of their cash flow, do some simulations with that, and basically rely on NetSuite transactional information to see what is happening and to project the cash position in the future. Additionally, since ERP systems are traditionally transactional systems, many customers would rely on third-party analytical tools. They would need to get out the data from the system, transform it, manipulate it, and then load it into some data warehouses, and then run some additional software in order to get more analytical view of the numbers. NetSuite has done a tremendous job adding this analytics function. So on top of the operational reports, KPIs, and saved searches and reminders that you get with standard NetSuite, also included in standard NetSuite comes the analytics engine, which runs on the real-time transactional data and allows you to build analytic workbooks, basically interacting in a visual way with your data that you already have at hand in your account, and create all sorts of visualizations whether we are looking at our sales or we are looking at budgets or purchases or any other profitability analysis, we can design with a click of a button, just drag and drop. We can design pivot tables, we can design graphs, and just interact with our data from, let's say, a bigger horizon, let's say from starting 2 years back up till right now. So you can see here we have a pivot table analyzing some sales by item summary across the last 2 years, I believe was specified in the criteria, but this is a real-time data. So as somebody else is selling some more right at this moment, if I refresh it, all my analysis will be refreshed. That's something a multi-system setup would not be able to do. And also when it comes to, for instance, visualizations, my data set is having behind it several companies accounting in different currencies. What I was trying to do here is to put on the graph the amount in the foreign currency of sales by the sales rep. So my analytics engine tells me that my data is having values in multiple currencies, and obviously it doesn't make sense to show it on a single graph. So what I can do here right from my analytics, I can go and I can choose a conversion option and let's say convert everything to a certain currency, say Japanese yen, and use a certain exchange rate, let's say of the 6th of March, apply that conversion rate. And now all my data, all my underlying transactional data is being translated to the respective currency using those exchange rates and plotted on the graph. I can save and share my analytic workbooks across my organizations. And then with a simple click, I can add a certain component of my analytics to my dashboard. Just add an analytics portlet and then tell the system what you want it to display. So I will just go ahead and add the same graph to my analytic portlet. So next time when I log into the system, it provides me with a real-time updated information on this specific matter. Now, speaking about multi-companies and unifying the system landscape, what we often see is those companies who are aiming for growth, whether organic or not. They do have lots of different systems, accounting systems mainly in the different countries to be also locally compliant, and trying to figure out how to consolidate numbers and roll everything at the group level. With NetSuite, you can unify that stack of applications, just rip and replace all of those accounting tools and systems in different countries, because NetSuite also provides a very robust framework for localization capabilities. Basically, all we need to configure is your subsidiaries with the countries, with the localization elements, VAT reports, SAFTI reports, and you will get immediately the capability to be both have a group visibility of your data, let's say support a group chart of accounts, and at the same time being able to extract almost instantly a VAT statement and submit it to your local authorities in any country of your operation. With that said, I will hand it back to Jimmy, and let's see if we have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrei. And again, as I said, if you want to have any more deep dive, or if you have any follow-up questions, please contact us after this webinar. We'll be happy to set up a meeting with us and Andrei if that would be needed. Yeah, so I have a few questions, but more to these guys than to you, Andrei. So we'll follow up with questions to you if that comes up. So thank you very much, and I hope you got some insights on the first presentation of this, and Andrei will be back on our other topics that we will have later on during this spring. So I will revert the question here to the few questions to you guys. So I was a part of the steer group in the project with you guys, and one of the things that I thought was one of the key factors from my end, it was transparency and collaboration. If there was anything that needed to be raised, I don't think anyone was afraid of saying so in the meetings and so on. So that was from my end, but from your end, any key factors that sort of led the project to be a success?
Project management.
Project management and
I
project.
think one of the things that August raised, that we had a dedicated project manager just focused on this implementation. We had, besides the very structured way that we had a collaboration with, that we had meetings every single week, we had also our internal meetings. And actually, as the project progressed, we put that structure a much tighter. So I remember that during the last like 6 weeks or something like that, we had daily meetings. Every single day we met during the morning, 15 minutes, who needs to do what, why, because I needed to feel that we had a good control over the daily business, the operational, and make sure that we had the capacity to implement the project.
And running your business
Yeah,
meanwhile. So
exactly.
that's always a challenge that we're seeing our customers facing. You talked a bit in your presentation about growth. So after you went live with NetSuite, you added a couple of more subsidiaries and acquisitions. So I assume that will continue to happen. So how sort of set or how prepared are you now for growth, and sort of what in terms of the system landscape and how you will operate on that? So
I can take the first step with a question that I asked you when we did it. When we had the first acquisition that we were going to put into the system, my question to August was, can we do a checklist, like a playbook, and use this example so that we can, before we implement it, we have more or less like a playbook that we can test with this first acquisition? That was the question that you got for the first one.
Yeah, and we sort of made a checklist, and now we could use it in our second acquisition. So the second one was really faster than the first one. And as I mentioned, that we have sort of set up the system to match our needs. We like adapt the new companies to the system very easily, because the the settings are already in the system, so we don't have to do all that again. So it's mainly just export historical data, and then we are up and running, basically.
And of course, adding an acquisition or a new subsidiary, the complexity depends on where you do it. So I mean, in some countries, I understand more localization, adoptions, and so on is needed. But if you would now add, let's say, a non-complex country, to say it like that. So how much, because we often talk with the customer, how dependent or independent they will be of actually getting 10 consultants in to help for 3 months and so on. So what is your view on that? How much can you actually do yourself, and where can we add value, or are we not needed for the easy ones?
I could take the example of our last acquisition. Like, we had all the templates ready, so we prepared them, and then we just used one consultant. And I think we did it in like a month, maybe, from start to finish.
Because this is often what we say when we're facing with customers that are not there yet, but I think that's hard to believe for some people that has done it maybe in the past. Okay. When is it? We talked a bit about this before, but when is a good time to actually do this project? Because I usually compare it to sort of, you're doing a lung transplant at the same time as you're doing a marathon. So it is, the business has to move forward. You don't usually get 5 more people to help you in the project and so on. So what is a good time to actually start this in your view?
I would say, like, the main implementation, if you could put it in sort of an off season where you don't have a lot of reports to be made.
Okay.
So for us, I think it was a really good time to have it at the start of Q4, because we are precisely done with the Q3 reporting, and then we are not yet started with the annual reports. So that was a good time, I would say. But I mean, it depends on the company.
I think, I
Yeah.
think if you look at, for example, our time plan that was from April to October.
Yeah.
I remember the months that were the summer months. You don't want to have the middle period, for example, during the end of the year, because then you're doing annual reports, you're doing other analysis and so on. I think it was quite good to do it during that period. And one thing that we did that was very helpful for us was that in Sweden, you get long summer holidays. So what we did was that we prepared everything before the summer, and we gave it to you guys.
Please go
please,
to work.
Please, I'm going for the summer and make sure the numbers are in afterwards.
Okay. I don't think my consultants want to hear the rest of that conversation. So, but in terms of the company growth, we see this quite often in the same, let's say, same lifespan as you. So basically, you had a couple of countries were now getting to have the burden of several systems and so on. Would you, in hindsight, wished you would have done it sooner or later, or was it a good timing for you?
I think several things need to fall into place. That it's that you need to make sure that you have the capacity in-house to support the project. If you have that capacity in-house, I wouldn't recommend to wait, because the efficiency gains and the control you get of the business, it's worthwhile. But make sure that you have the right competences and the capacity in-house to do it.
So thank you very much for joining today, and I look forward to continue working together with you and to see where your growth will take you next. I bet that we will see some challenging countries in the future that we will support you with, and I look forward to that challenge. So thank you very much for joining today. So we do have some upcoming webinars that I talked about earlier. So we have the BI tool. So does finance need a dedicated BI tool? Is the question mark, and there we have a customer called Ortex with us. We will also have a webinar together with our partner Flowcast, where we will invite our customer Relics that will talk about the closing period and how to make it more efficient when you have large teams that work with the closing process. So Flowcast will be joining us, or will be leading that webinar. And then we have CFO tools for managing international SaaS scale-ups together with our customer Leapwork. So we look forward to these coming webinars. We will, well, you will see them in different social medias and so on. And as said, we will send out this webinar recording together with the presentation. And if you want to get in contact with us, just reach out, and let's see if we can help you in your future growth as well. So thank you very much for joining today, and we look forward to meeting you face to face or in a web meeting in the future. Thank you.